Welcome, guys, to another episode of our little talk show here. Today, I'm joined with, a renowned costume designer and artist from their amazing work on Two Broke Girls to Dead to Me to The Burb to now the recently announced Spider-Noir and even Spaceballs 2. So I'm extremely excited to talk to you today, and we're super grateful to have you. If you want to start with a little introduction.
Sure. Hey, I'm Trayce Gigi Field, and I'm a costume designer, as you were just told.
Yeah. So I guess diving into it, I want to touch on something really, really quick. And I think it's I always think about it, especially when I saw your work on Two Broke Girls. One of the first actual experiences that I had with realizing like how significant costumes was from that show.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And what's funny enough about it is that, so I was about 10 when the show came out, and my...
I'm not old or anything, guys.
No.
I'm kidding, totally kidding.
And I remember being in my grandma's house, and when the show would come on, no matter what distance I was from the TV, the color palette, I knew, like, oh, it's Two Broke Girls.
Yeah.
With the red and the yellow. And so that for me was one of those moments where I was like, okay, costumes are really important to this stuff. And it's like, it's visually significant to you being like, wait a minute, that's exactly that. It has a power to it.
Right. It's about the visual storytelling, but it's also about like a quick read sometimes.
Exactly.
Those uniforms, signified mustard and ketchup, which kind of like, was like a throwback to the diner.
Yeah.
And then also Laverne and Shirley, which is way before your time, was an iconic waitress show. And we kind of like modeled it after that. And so, yeah, I think that like those uniforms are very much the signature of that series.
Right. Yeah. So that being like one of like the staples for me, sort of realizing the significance of costumes. What about you? Like, what was your first intro being like, oh wait, I love this stuff. Like, I want to do this stuff.
Okay, so to be completely honest, right, I just wanted to know where the actors got their clothes. Like, that is literally,
Valid.
that's literally like why I was interested in it. It's like, yes, you see things like Blade Runner, Star Wars, or those kinds of things, which I feel like those were the early inspirations for me. I'm kind of like a nerd and like love anything that's sci-fi,
yes.
comic book related,
yes.
Fantasy.
Right.
Like, I think I'm really drawn to that. So yeah, I just wanted to know like how those actors got dressed for the camera.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's it.
So I feel like you've had a pretty long journey with this stuff, and I want to know.
Again, I'm old, guys.
No. Experience.
I'm totally kidding.
I'm sure that there's been tons of ups and downs in that process and everything, and so I would love to know a little bit more, because I feel like we don't talk about them as much. We see the highs, we see the successes, but it's not as often that we like dive into what sort of went wrong, how you came back from that. So I'd love to know maybe some significant things that in your journey led you.
Yeah, I think like the first thing is, with any career, it's like trying to get your foot through the door, right? Like that's like the hardest part.
Right.
And then I think trying to maneuver your career in a way that you get to do the things that like you want to do, or that like you want to be working on.
Absolutely.
And that's not always the case, Sometimes you do a job for money, and sometimes you do a job for the creativity.
Yeah.
So I started off as a costume PA, which, back in my day, it was like $100 a day.
Oh, wow.
Which was like no money. And even so I started there, and then I was running an errand to a costume house, right? And that's how you could get in the union. And being my outgoing self, I was like, hey, how do you get in here? Like, what do you need to do? Blah, blah, blah. And it was not easy to get into Western costume, but I did. And that's where I made $7.50 an hour. Because again, that was minimum wage, guys. I am a lot older than I look. And I mean, I almost lost my car. Like I couldn't afford, to make such little money. And the owner, Eddie Marks, who recently passed, he gave me a raise because he wanted me to stay. And I babysat his kids, who are both now in the costume world.
No way.
Yeah, they're costumers. One of his sons is a costume supervisor. And I mean, it was really rough. But I will say, having that connection with Eddie, like he really was a champion of my career and super supportive. And I do think it's like, it's all about the people you meet, and it's all about the people who are willing to like take you under their wing and like help you out. So, and I in turn have done that for so many other people, like help them get in the union, help them like in their career, like grow. So
It's huge.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that like with everything in life, there's ups and downs, but I think the most important thing is about like the human connection. And so, I'm so happy that people like helped me, and so
Yeah.
I turn around and help other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it's so interesting seeing that like mentality of helping out and sort of like wanting to like reach out and do those things. I feel like it's not super common. So
I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really great to have that mentality. What sort of, I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but where does that sort of like derive from a lot? Is it just sort of that like experience that you had?
Well, to be completely honest, I had like a tumultuous childhood. Like, I grew up here in LA, and I have always sort of been the responsible one in my family, let's just say. And so, I am used to taking care of others, I think, as part of it. And I don't know, I just am the human being that I am, the way I'm built is just like, I like helping other people. I like helping people grow. And like, again, I wouldn't be where I am had somebody not helped me. So I always feel like, it's just ingrained to me to like want to give back. And I mean, and I've helped, quite a few people like excel, get in the union. Some of them are now designers. Like they were my assistant or my set person. And like, I mean, people like Amy Parrish just did Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she used to work with me. And then it's like Sarah Evelyn, who like does really big, she just did, Fall Guy. Like,
Wow,
so, and she was like my set costumer 100 years ago. So it's like, you always just want to like help.
Yeah.
You
That's beautiful. I love that.
Well, good. I'm glad
I think that's fantastic.
And it's also like, when people reach out to me via Instagram or wherever, like I try to always respond or at least, be nice.
Right.
Because I don't really believe in being mean to people, even
Absolutely.
when people are not the nicest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just feel like I wouldn't sleep well at night if I wasn't nice.
Yeah, and that's a contrast, and I think that's very interesting because I've had the utmost tiny experience of meeting some people, and the environment can seem very competitive, and it seems very sort of like, oh, well, we have this opportunity, so we're not going to sort of bring you in on that. And so that is like a super refreshing take to kind of hear. Because even I feel like in different niches of careers and things like that, that's becoming more of a thing. So having, I feel like people that you can look up to and like count on in that space, and for people like me or of my age that are kind of like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I kind of want to do those things.
Right.
And like I want to do comics. I want to do, movies. I want to do costumes and other kind of things. But not having sort of those figures, it can be detrimental. I feel like it can lead to a certain kind of like discouragement. So
yeah, I mean, what I do, I speak at a lot of schools. And so the thing I always say is like, you have to tell everybody what you want.
Yeah.
And then once you get, like, say you get a job as a PA, like, you need to really do the job well. Like,
100%.
I still take out the trash and I'm the boss. So you're not above anything.
Yeah.
And generations are very different. And I think the thing that people don't always realize is, like, everyone's watching you all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you have a bad attitude, or if you're like, oh, I'm above taking out the trash, like, people see that. Right. And the person who's willing to take out the trash and the person who has a good attitude, like, those are the people that I'm going to end up helping. Yeah. So, and as far as, like, this business goes, it is very competitive, and it can be cutthroat. It can be all those things. Yeah. But I feel like it comes from the person. And so, I'm surrounded by people who are mostly like me. And so we help each other out. Like, if I can't do a job, I'm willing to, like, refer my friends. Absolutely. And vice versa. And, I always look out for, if I'm making money, then they're making money too, if they're on my crew. It's not like, oh, I'm going to make this and you're going to make this. It's like, you have to bring people up with you. Yeah. And in turn, I have very loyal people who work with me consistently. Absolutely. So, I think it's all about building your community. Yeah. And I think you're super right about, like, the passion and, like, the persistence of it too, because I think that's something that is becoming, people still do it, but I think it's becoming a lot, like, scarier to do, and a lot scarier to kind of, like,
abandon what you kind of know and just really full force chase that thing, give it your full energy, give it your full effort, and sort of like ignore whatever other anxieties you might have going on, which I feel like is pretty easy, especially for someone like me.
I mean, we all have anxiety. Like,
absolutely.
Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, I am really trying to figure out like this new generation about like how they think, because you know, it's like we always are hiring people from every age range, you know, and again, I like to help develop people, so it is something that I always look for. But it does seem like there's some sort of barrier about like wanting to go after what you want, but also like how to do it.
Yeah.
Because some people just show up and they're like, well, I want to be the designer. And I'm like, well, you've never even like been a PA. So how are you, like, I understand you went to school, but like school, it's hypothetical. And like real life is real life. And so, you know, I do believe that starting at the bottom and working your way up is a great way to be. Yeah. And it doesn't have to take like your entire like adult life. Like, you know, I do think it's important because that way you like learn all the different skills that 100%. Can get you to be like the best designer or the best costume supervisor or whatever your goal is. I mean, I think experience is the way to go. Yeah.
So my next little segue that I have that I've been really excited to talk to you about, because I've talked to, I think like 2 or 3 people about this before, and they've had very different lenses because they aren't in the costume realm.
Okay.
It has to do with sort of like cosplaying and dressing up in costumes.
Yeah. I love cosplay.
I have this thing that I always just like jump down the rabbit hole of, and I think it's so fascinating about this mentality of like confidence. And I think that just through meeting people and even my own experiences being at conventions at 12 to now 25, it's like when you put on a mask, when you put on a cape, for whatever reason, you just like feel a little cooler. You feel 100%. A little better. Yeah. And I think that that's so important and like interesting for a community and a space of people that realistically struggle from a lot of different things, like myself, like anxiety, social anxiety, those things, body dysmorphia, things like that. But for some reason in this space, none of those things seem to matter. And it just becomes sort of like a playground of like, who can I be today and who can I embody? And I've loved this like powerful part of it where like you can embody certain characteristics of the person. And I know some people who are so obsessed with Superman that every single day they make a post with a little quote saying "look up," and I love that. And I think that that's so amazing because you're not just wearing spandex, you're not just wearing tights, you're connecting with something on such a deeper level. Right. And so I want to know your thoughts on like the mentality of how it really does elevate a person, a role, or those things, being in a costume that feels cool, to put it honestly.
Well, just to touch on that a little bit, I also feel like when you put on, like even cosplay, it's kind of like your armor, you know, and you put that on, and then for some reason you have, you feel a little bit more protected in the world, and so you're actually able to like be the person that you are or want to be, you know, and so costumes kind of translate like that. So when we're in a fitting and you first put a costume on an actor, it really helps them embody the character. Mm-hmm. And the way you know that you've done a really amazing job is that the actor is literally like, I feel like my character. I see my character. Or the best thing is when they start like spitting out their lines from the script. Then you know you've like really hit it. And that's happened to me so many times, and I like incredible. It gives me goosebumps every time. So, you know, it's really just like we're visual storytellers, right? I'm here to help like help you embody the character itself, and then you are the person who like portrays the character. Absolutely. And I think that when we provide the right costume, it all just kind of clicks. Yeah.
I brought my girlfriend, on some photo shoots with me.
Hi, girlfriend.
She's done Batgirl.
Love it.
She did Black Widow.
Love it.
And I even brought in like my cousin, my little brother, and I actually started doing shoots together. He's 11 years old. We started doing like duo Nightwing and Robin, and I just made us both Green Lanterns. And,
really quick about the cosplayers.
Yes.
Really quick.
Yes, please.
Anytime I go to Comic-Con or any sort of con and you see, the best part about the entire convention are the cosplayers. Yeah. Like, hands down. Yes. I take so many photos with them, of them. Like, some people are just like out of this world with how well they have like, you know, made these costumes.
100%.
And as somebody who creates these costumes, I can't even tell you the joy that it brings me to see somebody dressed up as somebody I helped create.
Yeah.
Like when even like Two Broke Girls, like so many people like wore those waitress uniforms. I had so many people, even at conventions.
I think I still see in compilations sometimes some like, two girls.
Okay, guys, you know, which is awesome. And then I was just at CCXP, and we had quite a few of the spiders walking around, which is super cool.
Yes.
And I think like next year we're gonna have so many people dressed as like Spaceballs characters. So I have so much to look forward to, and it just makes me so happy.
Yeah, well, that's like that's what's so cool about it. And my favorite, I want to make clear, my favorite part is the cosplayers, always. And I love seeing like the interpretations, the mashups, and like the creativity that I'm like, I wouldn't even know how to start with that thought.
Right.
And going back to sort of what I was saying is like it's this really unique and like beautiful mentality that you like wouldn't experience in any other space realistically. Like my brother and my cousin and even her being like, wait, that was actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, that felt
it's
really
fun.
cool.
It's totally fun.
And you see the photos back of yourself and you feel like that character, and it's a whole experience. So
100%.
Yeah, I've always just loved this idea that like cosplayers, people into costumes and those things, like really can character build for lack of better terms in like a really cool way of like looking up to these superheroes and things like that. So I've always just loved that. I thought that was so cool.
I mean, I think it's great too. Otherwise I wouldn't be so obsessed with like wanting to create like fantasy and sci-fi.
Yes.
Like if I could do that for the rest of my career, maybe a period show here and there, that would be ideal for me. You know, it's so much, the fantasy part of it is so much fun, and just like, I don't know. It really does take you out of the real world, which I think a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
It's like your escapism, you know, and we're all human, right?
Yes.
Like, and it's very human to have anxiety, and it's very human to like, you know, feel insecure and all those things. But I do, when you find something that you can helps you escape a little and just like have fun and like not think about be overwhelmed with just life in general. I feel like, why not?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Hence, I think that's why I'm so.
Yeah.
Because I'm also like have anxiety and like to read books and like, you know, want to create like fanciful stuff because it takes me out of like the real world.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to display some of like my costume work at LA Comic-Con this past year and have my own little booth, and I was so anxious. I was so like full sweat, super, super anxious. And then I started to realize like I'm just connecting with like friends. Like I'm just talking. There were some times where I would catch myself in like 15-minute long conversations with people about like this short film that they love this costume
the best
from.
Part.
And I'm like, I have to pull myself out of it and be like, this is what I've always wanted. Like this is the exact space and like community and people who are so obsessed with it that they lose track of time. And that's the kind of people that I love to be around. And so it's like you said, it's like this escape where they can really just like dive into all of these things that they might feel too nervous to talk to someone about, or anxious to talk to someone about.
Or feel like you're going to be judged because you like what you like.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like I'm obsessed with Fourth Wing, and like everyone likes to make fun of me, and I'm like, I don't care, guys. Like I was a dragon for like Halloween.
That's
like,
great.
I'm all about it. Like so I just think like, you know, be into what you're into. And as far as like, you know, the Comic-Cons like, or the cons in general, like I do love getting into those conversations about like, you know, whatever it is. And I've gone the last couple of years, and this year the spider will be on display in the in the Costume Designers Guild booth. So I'm super excited about that. Awesome. And we're going to have our own panel to like talk about the costumes.
That's amazing. Which convention did you say this was?
San Diego.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, the big one. So
that's gonna be so
super excited
exciting.
about that. Yeah. And then, you know, people can come by and talk to me about like the costume, and because I'll be in the booth quite a bit. And to me, like there's nothing more I'd rather do.
Yeah.
Like I know it's like a couple months away, and I'm like, can't wait.
Right.
You know? So yeah.
Well, speaking of costumes and everything and the spiders, let's talk a little bit about Spider-Noir. Huh?
Okay. Shall we?
A little.
Okay.
I immediately, when I saw those teaser images, I was like, wow, this is such a beautiful like grab from what we know of like the comics, the character, the Spider-Verse film, and seeing it like brought to life. I want to know what the costumes, first of all. Oh my gosh, Trayce. I was one after the other in the teaser trailer. I was just like, they feel so like the character. It feels just like it. And I want to know what it was like to work on something that was set in the 30s and, you know, a totally different time period, and having to adapt that into like or having to take care of that in today's time period?
Yeah. Okay, well, first off, I can't do it alone, so thank you to my costume crew, right? Because,
Yes,
you know,
gotcha.
I'm only as good
Gotcha.
as my department. But I really wanted to stay grounded, you know? And so reading the comic books and, like, really trying to, like, make sure that the live action felt like the comics.
Yeah.
Like, that was the most important thing to me. I really wanted the fans to connect with the spider and feel like it is jumping off of the page of
Yeah.
the comic book. So that was like the number one goal.
Yeah.
Right. And then as far as like the villains go,
Oh,
they're so good,
so
right?
good.
And it's like, you know, Megawatt and like Tombstone and you know, Sandman. It's just like, and Silvermane. It's like I went into a deep dive in the comics and wanted to make sure that the color palette felt similar, you know, which that way it would be a better read, you know, to have the connective tissue.
Yeah.
So, you know, you'll see like with Megawatt, like it's a lot of yellow, like gold, because to feel like electricity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Sandman, obviously his colors are like tan and green, and so we really like implemented that into his costumes. And so with the spider itself, like I really wanted it to feel real.
Yeah.
As real as like a super suit comic book character could. And so his mask is essentially made out of like a sweater from the 1920s from his wartime. And I know, right? And so when he was in France serving in the war, he rode motorcycles. I have like a whole backstory, you guys, so like everything makes sense. And so, you know, the vest is a motorcycle, like a French-inspired motorcycle vest, as well as the pants. And the trench is actually, it is a take off of a military jacket itself. So it all kind of felt real.
Yeah.
You know, and the goggles were like doughboy goggles. Like, so I think that, you know, the main inspiration is to make it as comic book real as possible.
Yes.
And I want people to love it.
We love that. I cannot tell you, that what you just said right now is going to make a lot of people really happy.
I hope so. I mean, it's all about the fans.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
for me, it's all about the fans. I just want them to like really love what we did with the characters.
Yeah. Hearing you talk about the colors, I have a question that I didn't write down before, but now I'm curious.
Please.
What was it like designing for the costumes that had to be in color, but also black and white?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because that's a different sort of thing, because you have to think about how that translates in a totally different sort of tone.
100%. So when I first signed on, it was only going to be shot in black and white.
That's super interesting.
And then, like, you know, a week or two later, they're like, yeah, we're also going to do it in color. And I was like, okay. So I talked to our DP, director of photography, Darren, and I was like, dude.
Yeah.
What do we need to do?
Whole other ball game.
Yeah, and so we kind of sat down and like I had some, you know, ideas about like color and like, you know, what's going to show up best in both mediums. Also like prints. I really needed to have prints that weren't too small, that had like that were, I'm blanking on the word that I love to use for this, but basically contrast. They had to have contrast. And so, you know, so that you could really see it well in black and white. Like with color, it's like, okay, well, we see that, but with black and white, you really want to have the contrast.
Absolutely.
I also needed to use fabrics that, you know, could reflect the light. Because that's so important for noir.
I'm sure things got kind of like blacked out when it's
it
heavy
could go
contrast.
flat very fast.
Oh.
So we used like a special lens. It's a Lutz lens, and we had cameras that, like photography cameras that we could like test, also video cameras. So there's a lot of testing involved.
I can imagine.
Of like fabric after fabric after fabric. And I wanted to use colors and tones that were interesting, but also would work well in both mediums. So it took a bit to like get there, but color palette is so important to me. Because I want you to feel the character based off of color. And, you know, as a little like Easter egg, if you watch Kat's clothing, you can kind of see where her emotions are based off of her color, like what color she's wearing. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if people pick up on that.
That's super interesting.
I'm all about an Easter egg, you guys.
I love that. Me too. That's fantastic. So like we kind of talked about, like embodying the role with the costumes. What was it like seeing the cast, Nicolas Cage, all these amazing actors, and like really step into these costumes and embody these characters?
Well, Nicolas Cage is awesome.
Yeah.
I actually love him so much, and it was really fun to collaborate with him. One of the best moments was like our first like fitting, because I'm so excited and so passionate and blah, blah, blah. And most people pick up on that.
Right.
Like we're about 10 or 15 minutes in, and he just turns to me and he is like, "You're really into this, huh?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm so into this."
You have no idea.
Exactly. I was like, "I cannot wait." And he was like, "You're like sunshine, Tracy." And I was like, "So Nick, I'm gonna take that and put that in my pocket, and I'm gonna pull that out whenever I like need to pick me up." And so he thought that was funny. But yeah, like working with Lamorne and because it's like I just love that our cast is diverse.
Yes.
It's super important to me.
Huge.
I come from a multicultural background, so I'm Jewish and Black, so I'm bluish. And so, having Lamorne and Abe also just being the cast was like, I just felt like that was like super awesome, and also having like Kat, just again diversity.
100%.
So with characters like Robbie, which is Lamorne's character, already knowing this, but also like doing a lot of like research, like Black folks dress to impress, and like they like their outfits are like put together and things are color coordinated, and like so that's really what I wanted to do for Robbie, and I wanted it to be like a jewel tone that kind of popped, so he's always like in rust and a little bit of yellow, and I really feel like he popped. Same thing with Abe. Abe is Tombstone, sorry.
Yes.
And he has these wonderful, like, purpley sort of tones. And so, I think just working with the cast in general was super rad. Karen, who plays Janet, like, and, we had a Latina. Like, for me, just having, just having the diversity for me made me feel a lot more comfortable, like, designing for this. And Kat, Lily, she was way into her clothes. Like being able to design those dresses and finding like the right tones and color reflection and the whole thing. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better cast. That was like, they couldn't have been more into their costumes. Right. So from a costume designer's point of view, like I was like,
we did. That's
exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, is there anything that you can sort of give us to look forward to as far as the visuals and like maybe a little snippet of like, I don't know how you want to phrase it, but something that we can look forward to as far as like the description of what we're going to see?
Ooh. Actually, I just saw a screening last night of the first 2 episodes.
Oh.
And it's so exciting. It's so exciting. I walked out of there being like, we like did it. We did it. So it feels very noir. It feels very, it's like where a comic book meets noir, but also in like a heightened state. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know, you kind of feel like you're like high when you're watching it. Like I'm not sure if I should say that, but it's like
that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
An euphoric high.
Transcending. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to go to the bathroom. Like you know what I mean? Like you want to just, because you're in it. That first episode is so gripping that you are just like,
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I really just think everybody's gonna, if you're into any of this, I think you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
And I would recommend watching it in black and white first, and then going back and watching it in color.
See, I also think it's really interesting though, and I feel like there are some shows doing this as well, but Spider-Noir is doing a really, really great job of this. Is almost like creating an atmosphere, a film, a look that can tie in people or bring in people who have no interest in superheroes or other things, because it's just such an interesting visual adventure that you kind of get to go on. So.
And it's so dark.
Right.
And like superheroes are not always dark. Yes. They're more, And so I feel like Nick really like, he took like Humphrey Bogart and like, but also made it like funny.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think that like a different types of people are going to actually like this because it is dark. It's a dark comedy. It's also like serious. There's like a love story in there.
Hey,
there's
we love a love
something for
story.
everybody,
Yeah.
you know. And if you're into like the comics, there's like no doubt that you're gonna love it. So I think you're right. Like I think it's gonna bring in a different genre of people that wouldn't normally watch this.
Yeah.
And because we did it in both black and white and color, I think it just opens it up for more people to be into it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. My last little tiny segment before we close out.
Do you want to talk about Spaceballs too?
I can't not talk to you about
It's fine,
Spaceballs too,
please.
Tracey.
I mean, I cannot not talk about it.
I mean, when you talk about iconic costumes,
Dude.
I mean, this is its own realm
Yeah.
of iconic costumes.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you can't say too much, but is there 3 words you could use to describe the costumes that we're gonna see in
Ooh.
Spaceballs 2?
I'm not sure I could do it in 3 words. There are some recreations from the original. Yep, for sure.
I mean, seeing some of the cast return was so already.
I mean, Rick Moranis is a dream. I can't even.
Yes.
Yeah, and like working with Josh Gad and Kiki and
Yes.
Lewis and Bill and Daphne, like they're
Right.
all so
Yeah.
like everyone was just so into doing the project,
Right.
like wanting to be a part of the project, like making the project like awesome. It probably was one of the best experiences I've ever had on a project.
Wow.
Also, I'm a huge fan of the original, huge.
Yes.
And so when I
Yes.
saw that it was actually going to go forward and like there was going to be a part 2, I read who was directing it, and it's actually a director I'd worked with before, and like we're friends, you know. And I would text him, and I was like, "Dude, I will die, literally die to work on this movie."
Yeah.
You know, I was like, and he's like, "I can help you, you know, get in the door, but it's up to me to get the job,"
Right.
you know. And so. Yeah, so much so that I got a tattoo that
No
says Spaceballs the tattoo when we wrapped. Yeah,
Oh
I
man,
can show it to you.
that's great, please. That's so good.
And as far as the costumes go, like, listen, everything is like, I mean, it's a parody of Star Wars, so you know you got there's some of that in there.
Yeah.
And then we took some things from the original and kind of like have some connective tissue to that.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, and overall, I mean, I think if you love the first one, you're gonna love the second one. It's so funny. Like I've seen like a very very rough cut.
Yeah, I mean, with that cast, it's like, it has to be hilarious.
It's insanely funny.
Oh, I'm
you know?
so excited.
Yeah, me too. 2027, April.
Here we go. That's
Yeah.
going to be great. 2010. I know, almost there. Okay, well, I mean, I feel like to wrap it up, you've been just like a really, really great staple. And I feel like a person who, like you kind of talked about, like cares about other people. And that's super important.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I want to just thank you for that. And also call some attention to that because it's a rare thing, a great thing. And especially in something as intimidating as the film industry and all those things, it's an insane breath of fresh air. I feel like to know that some real nice folks like you exist out there.
100%. I don't feel like being cutthroat is. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. It's just not who I am.
Right.
But this business is very competitive, you know, and I don't want people to think like, oh, it's like all roses, because it's not. But I do think you find your community, and like it is important to me to like help develop the next like round of folks that are going to be doing this. And to be a good influence, on like how to do things, and,
Absolutely,
and also like how to treat people.
Yeah. Well, for creatives like myself, people who are hoping one day to get involved in costumes, creatives, the film industry, is there any sort of like straightforward, concrete advice that you have for us folks who have that dream?
Right. Okay. So being a costume PA, I think is a super great way to start.
Yeah.
Because you'll work within the department and you'll actually see if you want to do it or not, because it all sounds very glamorous until you're there for 12, 14, 16, 18 hours and you're tired and you have so much more to do. And to actually see the the real behind the scenes, I think is super important. I've had people who have come in and PA'd and been like, nope, not for me. And then I've had other people who have come in and have like gotten the union, and like Valentina, who I helped, like she donated her time to the Costume Designers Guild. So if that's something, they have a whole volunteers list. That's another way.
That's great. That's good to know.
Yeah, and so put yourself on the volunteer list. you can call the Costume Designers Guild and leave a message for Ivy with your name and your, information,
That's great.
and she will add you to the list. And Valentina was at a function, and she came up to me and she was like, she was very busy working. So when she walked by, she's like, "I'm such a fan of your work." That was the first thing. And I was like, "Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hi." And then she came back again and she was like, "Here's my resume." She was like,
Wow.
she said, "I have cleaned houses. I have she gave me a whole rundown of everything she's ever done.
Right.
And she's like, "I'm willing to do anything, And I was like, okay. And so I ended up hiring her.
Yeah.
And now she's in both unions, and she has become she is ACD'd for me. She's been an assistant she was an assistant costume designer on the Burbs.
Cool.
Yeah, and
So
she worked
cool.
on the Spider with me as a costumer who helped me dress a lot of the stunts. And so listen, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And so I think volunteering, trying to be a costume PA, reaching out to people, letting people know what you really want to do, or to at least just be like, hey, I just want a shot to see what it's like. And again, be willing to take out the trash, because I take out the trash.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta take out the trash.
Sometimes, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the advice I give, and have a good attitude. And not have a sense of entitlement, because a lot of us have had to work very hard to get where we are.
Absolutely.
And I think that's just life for most people. And so I think once you accept that and you just jump in and you're willing to do the thing, people see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at least that's what happened with me. And look where I am, folks.
Exactly. You already hear it. Passion, persistence, the mix of all of it.
100%.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations
Thank
on
you.
Spider-Noir, on Spaceballs 2. I mean, they were super, super excited. We actually have a little something for you.
Oh, gosh. I get a present?
Yeah,
I get coffee and a present?
Yeah,
Oh, my
you get
God.
coffee and a present.
Thank you. Well, if you come to Comic-Con, you have to stop by the booth and
Yes,
say hi.
absolutely. I should be there, so that would
Okay.
be great. Yeah, we have a little
Ooh, flowers. I love flowers.
Spider-Noir bouquet
Oh
for
my
you.
God, this is so rad! Look at that! Oh my God, I'm definitely gonna keep that in my house.
I love
That is
it.
so cool.
Yeah, but I mean, just thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day for going through all these things with me. It means a ton. So
No problem.
check out Trayce Gigi Field on everything, and Spaceballs 2, Spider-Noir, all of it is going to be so exciting.
Yes,
Can't
it
wait.
is.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for having me.
Let's see ya.
Bye.